Hello, everyone. This is the MMA latest podcast, the weigh-ins number 4 for UFC Austin. Swanson versus Frankie Edgar. This is Casey here. We have Brandon, Cody, and Jordan. We're going to talk about the whole card and go up and down everything. I'm going to give everyone a fight. We'll talk about it, and then we'll all get our talking points in, and then we'll just wrap around to the next person and go up the whole card if that's cool with you guys, okay?
Yep.
Okay, Jordan, I'll let you start off with Du Ho Choi and Juan Manuel Pig.
All right, sweet. I'm actually really pumped about this fight, surprisingly, because it's the first fight on the card. But Du Ho Choi is a freaking badass. If you watch that dude fight at all, so I don't know if you guys if you ever watch any of Robin Black's breakdowns, but Du Ho Choi is Robin Black's #1 prospect outside the UFC right now. Dude has some awesome striking. He fights out of I think he's out of the same camp as like Korean Zombie and Stun Gun Kim, stuff like that. Almost positive. Don't quote me on that. Could be wrong. Yeah, check that out because
I'll fact check for you.
I'll drop some.
MMA. I don't think that's the same.
Okay,
one.
Yeah, you're right. That is a different one then. Anyways, watched him fight a couple times, and he throws a lot of really powerful knee strikes, cool combinations in the clinch. I expect him to go to work on Juan Manuel Puig, who looked decent in his first fight, but got knocked out pretty spectacularly. So I think Choi's a cool prospect to watch.
Anyone else's thoughts?
I have a huge opinion on this fight. I totally believe that the underdog, and I forgot the guy's name, who's fighting Joy Du Ho. I think that he's going to pull it out because I don't think that the level of fighters that the prospect has been fighting is the same level as his opponent, in the sense that like Asian MMA is not really wrestling based at the moment. And I think that the guy that he's facing is going to realize that and is smart enough to or has a fight IQ to realize that his opponent doesn't have the sort of fight IQ that he does, in the sense that he's going to go taking the fight straight to the ground because he knows that this guy standing is much bigger than him, throws vicious strikes, has better Muay Thai all over the better mixed martial arts. But on the ground, he has an opportunity to win.
Okay, quick question for you. So you're thinking the guy from Mexico has fought better people, and I see it. He's fought a couple times in jungle fights. He's fought in some local South American and Mexican leagues. But you think that that's going to be superior to the South Korean MMA scene? I
think so, and I think that this will be like a test to see how far each nations have come in the sense of mixed martial arts. Like you'll see, like who knows? Maybe this guy's training with I don't know. Maybe he's training in New Mexico. Maybe he's training with some Mexican prospects that we don't know about. And maybe this guy is training with some Asian prospects we don't know about, but we'll find out when this fight goes down.
No, I agree. I just like to test it. I would personally say South Korea is by and large vastly above Mexico at this point, but still one of the minor players as far as countries in MMA still. They're still pushing on. But I get what you're saying. He's fought in clearly bigger organizations outside of Deep.
The only guy that he's fought and beat that I know is Ashita. I forgot his first name, but I know that he's this Ashita dude is like he's well known. I don't really know much about him, but I know that a lot of people know him, and he's the only in this record that people could recognize.
He hasn't fought anyone with what would you say his name was? Ashita? Oh, I found him.
Yeah, he beat Ashita. Yeah,
I recognize it. Okay, I was looking way.
And I mean, Ashita beat Gilbert Melendez, and he beat Gilbert Melendez. Let's see, beat Gilbert Melendez, beat Justin Wilcox.
He's consistent, but he's good.
Choi got him on his. I think he got Ashita on the tail end of his career, but not to take anything away from Puig, because before he got knocked out by Adriano Martins, he actually looked pretty good. He had some pretty solid striking. So it could be a really good fight. I think it'll be a very fast fight. Someone's probably getting knocked out either way. So that's an awesome fight to start off the card.
Yeah, wouldn't it be cool if the guy goes for a takedown and immediately gets a knee and it's just the perfect ending to everything?
This is going to be an exciting fight. It's going to be a fight that's flying under the radar right now. It's going to be exciting whether you go one side or the other. I'm leaning towards Du Ho Choi, but Juan Manuel Puig looked very good in his first fight, and he just went up against a beast. But he's hittable. He's super fucking hittable. So we could see it either way. Either way, I'm excited.
Cody, what do you think?
I'm going Doo-Ho Choi, the Korean sensation here, over Manuel Big. For all reasons that you guys listed.
Okay. Yeah, I think we know it's going to be a good fight. It's not one you can really pick easily. It's going to be two guys that are still very unproven, and from countries I'd say that are still pretty unproven outside of a couple main prospects.
Yeah, exactly.
The next fight, I'll let Mr. Bradley take this one. Kaylin Curran versus Paige Van Zandt.
I'm looking forward to the debut of Van Zandt, but I'm going to have to go with the overdog here, Caitlin Curran. I think Paige is, well, she's young. I think she's might be a little bit, her age might count against her. She's only 20 years old. She hasn't fought on the big stage, hasn't gotten this much attention. Thankfully, she's fighting on the very bottom of the undercard almost, so that'll help her out. But still, she's on a very large platform that she hasn't experienced before, and as is Curran, but at the same time, Curran has more fights overall, including her amateur fights, than Paige does. Paige fights, or at least used to fight out of a very solid camp in Alpha Male, but and she's fought tougher competition than Curran has and Tisha Torres. However, for some reason, I'm just going to lean towards Curran. I haven't seen either one fight particularly much. I haven't studied them in any depth, but I'm going to go the elder, Caitlin Curran, because we're the same age. No reason beyond that.
Anyone else's opinions?
I totally agree with him. I have Curran winning also. Only based on the fact that I did watch a lot of tape on Paige, and she's similar to Maximum Blanco. Now, if you guys have ever bet money on Maximum Blanco, you know how disappointing he is. So with that said, sometimes he's inconsistent in the fact that he'll swing punches and go for a fence takedown. That'll be the basis of his whole game plan. So in the sense, she's like that, but she throws a left hook, overhand right, push you into the cage and takes you down. If you let her take you down, she's all over you and it's probably over. But the sense that she's really young, so she doesn't really know much about the striking game yet, but she still has time to develop. So I still see Curran pulling it out with I want to go with a split decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I also am taking Curran. Kind of surprised we're all taking the underdog.
Yeah.
But so I took Curran because I did watch the Tisha Torres fight that Paige Van Zandt had, and she looked. I mean, she's a prospect for sure. She looks like she has some talent, and I read up a little background info, and yeah, it looks like she's had a little bit of an unstable last year, maybe. It looks like she was fighting an injury and had some insurance issues or something. She left Alpha Male, and there hasn't been a lot of status updates on it. She was supposed to go to the Tough House this year, but she wasn't old enough to go in because of the alcohol sponsorships and stuff like that. So, but Caitlin Curran, I watched some tape or read some stuff about her, looked up some background stuff. She looks like she's a pretty solid grappler. So I think if the fight does go to the ground, I think she's got the grappling advantage. So I chose Curran just based on more consistent, info coming in. Not a ton behind that one. This one could go either way. Should be a fun fight though.
Okay, I'll be the one dissenting opinion. I think it's gonna be really close. I think that they're both still very green. I mean, I really don't like how we're bringing in UFC fighters with less than 10 fights.
I agree.
I don't care
or
if
5 fights.
divisions are
I
late.
feel like that's very unprofessional. Look what's happening right now with the whole Rufus Sport and that dude dying. I feel like in the sense that we should not be allowing people with under 5 fights to come in and pretty much be role models to the people who are watching them on TV.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest issue is that these people aren't proven. I get they've got to build weight classes, but you can take it slower. These weight classes aren't drawing people right now. Why are you? I don't know. That's a separate issue. But I mean, they're so unproven. It's going to be so unpredictable. But based on the tape I've watched, I think that they're really similar with Curran with a grappling edge, like you guys have stated. But I think that Paige Van Zandt is a better athlete, based on what I saw. She looked like she was just a little bit stronger, a little more explosive, and more creative. I'm gonna lean that just she pulls off some ridiculous shit. Okay, it's two people with 3 fights or 4 fights, 7 fights. So if you've ever been to these local shows like I have, people with these records do ridiculous stuff. So I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna take the heel just because I think so. But yeah, that's why. It's still really weird seeing a 3-1 and a 3-0. It's so weird.
Yeah, I think you have to consider though the weight class and the fact that it's a new weight class that they just brought in. There's not a ton of talent out there. I mean, you're not going to find a lot of fighters out there with 10 plus, 15 plus fights with decent enough records. Like I would rather them bring in a 3-0 prospect or a 3-1 prospect than someone who's had 15 fights but they're 5-10. You know what I mean?
No, I agree with that. That's a different issue. I completely agree with it. Like if you had to pick the lesser of 2 evils.
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword. You know, they want to build the brand and build the division. So you know, I get it, and that's why they're putting them low on the card. You know, they don't want to. Yeah. They realize that the talent level's not quite there yet, and so put them down there. It'll still be a show because dudes are gonna tune in. Like Paige Van Zandt is a cute. These girls are both cute. They're both very good looking.
Yeah, great lady.
So people are gonna watch that fight regardless. So.
Yeah. No. Yeah, that's fine. I was hoping they'd wait to actually start having these fights till after the Ultimate Fighter was over.
Sure.
But but I get why they're doing it. But yeah, we've got 2 close fights so far. We don't have any this is just one-sided. We don't have a Jake Ellenberger Kelvin Gastelum fight going on right here. Where it's just
who did you guys pick for that fight?
I took Gastelum.
Did all you guys
we're pretty much all on Gastelum, I think.
I took Gastelum.
We haven't had okay.
Okay, yeah, I took Ellenberger on the only fact that I was thinking, okay, I was like, dude, this guy he fought the number 2 and the number 1 guy right now. He lost to them decisively. That's okay. Everyone has their moments, but if you guys watched the fight with Calvin, he reversed Calvin's position, got behind him, and then allowed Calvin to get behind him again and sink in that rear naked choke. And that was just
he got the rear naked choke. I don't know if you saw this online, but he got the rear naked choke because he was raising his hands and protesting to the ref because he was hit him in the back of the head.
Yeah.
He turned into it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, granted, he did turn into the strikes, and he shouldn't have opened up his arms like that. He should have known better, being such a veteran that he is. But still, it's kind of it was kind of strange.
It's an amateur mistake. I think that's a total amateur mistake.
Exactly.
It is. I mean, just the intensity that they brought to that fight, man. Calvin was on a different level that whole fight. He was pressing for him.
He was getting caught. He's very hittable. I realized that too. He was getting caught by Jake Ellenberger.
He is. He took some shots. Mm-hmm. He actually reminded me of a old school Diego Sanchez, man. He was just walking in, just taking shots, and then just threw him to the ground. I was like, holy shit. So
I think that card would have been better with the Diego Sanchez McGregor fight. I think that would have went over the top for me. I think personally.
That would have been crazy.
I would have loved that.
Would have watched.
What's the next fight?
Okay, Jordan, you take Yves Edwards, personal good guy, versus Akbar Ariola.
Oh man, Yves gonna whoop that ass, man. I will never pick against Yves Edwards, man. Even though he's on the tail end of his career and he's had some bad knockout losses. I don't know a ton about Akbar Ariola. I looked up some of his last few fights, and it looks like he hasn't beaten anyone of note, really. The guys that I know on his record, he's been beaten by. So, or I take it back. He submitted James Rudiger 7 years ago. So. But outside that,
he fought Tommy on it twice, and he was like, I want some more, and he got beat again.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I watched his last fight against Thiago dos Santos, and he didn't have a very good showing. I think Yves is just too experienced standing up, and if it goes to the ground, I mean, I think Edwards can submit him easily. So
Yves is he's one of those guys who can be very inconsistent, but he's always got the ability to do a level above these guys that he's getting paired up with. But the guys he's gotten paired up with recently were not bad, and 2 of them were split decisions. Okay.
And Hallman ended up just getting busted for steroids.
Recently, outside of that dominant win, close until the finish, pretty close. Even though I had Pitor winning that, and he did. But Cruikshank and Valley, both very good guys. I mean, they're definitely not below UFC level. They're middle of the road. No. Cruikshank's on the upswing. Valley Flag's middle of the road right now. And then Stevens, who he knocked out. All of these guys He did decent, so I'm leaning with you. I think he's gonna win. His chin's kind of going. His wrestling's not always the greatest, and he can get caught with some random submissions. But I don't see Akbar having anything other than a slight wrestling advantage. I'd give him. I have a feeling he's, as long as he doesn't get caught, is gonna take this fight. Anyone else gonna chime in on that?
I totally think against all you guys. I think that the Thug Jitsu Master is gonna get fucked up. I think that because I think that he's on the decline of his whole career. I think that Hallman fight showed that he can't handle top heavy wrestlers or top heavy grapplers, and this guy who he's fighting is like a he's like known to be a grappler. So I can only imagine that his plan is to go there and grapple Edwards, and it's gonna work because this guy's on his decline. You can't stop takedowns. He's getting hit all the time. He's just not looking like himself anymore. And I also feel like you guys are overselling him because he has only been in the UFC since 2010. 4 years. 4 years. And in his 4 years, he's fought. A month after he won in Bellator, he got signed to the UFC, won a decision, submitted Cody McKenzie, KO'd Sam Sow.
He was in the UFC though back in the early 2000s too, and he fought in Pride.
No. But I'm saying his re-signing since then, the past 4 years and most recently, like he hasn't been that good. He's lost to people who aren't. Dude, he lost to Isaac Valley Flag, and like Isaac Valley Flag is like, I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad fighter, but he's very inconsistent. You know what I mean?
Well, he's not the top level guys, but he's a middle of the road guy, and losing him isn't a good thing. It doesn't mean you're like terrible at all. And
no, especially in the UFC.
Valley Flag used a very pressure grind style that fight, lots of clinching, and he's a bigger guy. So I mean, while he's not the best, and we know he's on the tail end, I'm just saying that while Akbar has the ability to do these things, he isn't the level of. He hasn't proven he's as good of a wrestler or grappler as Hallman. I don't even think he's remotely as good as Hallman. Hallman's very good, and this was probably ruined Hallman after we noticed he got caught.
Yeah.
He hasn't gotten to contest these things. He's not the he definitely has been ruining for a while, it would seem.
Especially in the UFC, it doesn't mean that he's declining, but what I'm trying to say is that like in that fight with Isaac Valley Flag, that pressure grinding style broke him. And in the next couple of fights, he did not make the changes to change that. You get what I'm saying? Because
it didn't break him because you could arguably say he won. And I mean, I remember that fight.
Oh, so you won
that fight? I thought he lost, but I'm saying you could argue it. You're acting like it was like a dominant win for Valley Flag. It wasn't whatsoever. It was a split decision. It was pretty close, and I thought the striking was pretty clearly Eve's, but he was having trouble in the clinch mostly and taking.
Exactly.
And I'm saying that like he seems to have that hole in his game when it comes to grappling and wrestling, and he hasn't changed that yet.
Oh, I agree, but I mean, I just don't think Akbar's is. I wouldn't even say Akbar's as good at Valley Flag as MMA wrestling. I wouldn't say that. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm going for the areola, bro. All for the areola, bro.
I can see it. Akbar is also not young either. It's not like he's fighting a spring chicken. He's 31.
Cody, who you got in this fight?
I got the Thug Jitsu Master, my man. I can see. I see Brandon's point, and he makes a good one. Edwards is kind of on the downside of his career, so it seems. I mean, he's arguably lost, 6 out of his last 6 outings or something like that, and doesn't really look too good. I mean, Akbar has 3-1 in his last 4, so as far as his win streaks, wins and losses go by themselves and the whole momentum factor, Akbar seems to have it on his side. But again, for all the reasons that Casey brought up, I'm going with.
I'm just gonna say the 3 guys he beat, only one of them is positive in his 3-1 streak. Only one has a positive record.
Oh yeah, no.
That's all I'm saying. I think we gotta realize Akbar, while he deserves this fight, I'm just saying he hasn't been out there just wrestling the crap out of anyone. It's possible. I'm leaning towards the Mr. Thug Jitsu, just because I think he's more well-rounded. The only way I think Akbar wins is either catching him. Oh goodness, I'm getting attacked via cell phone.
Oh, come on.
Oh yeah, like I knew that was happening. Either catching him with a knockout or sitting on him. That's the only way I see it. But yeah. Okay. Anything else before we move on to the next fight?
Nope.
Okay, yeah, we're kind of split on that one. That was a good one. Okay, I will take James Vick versus Nick Hine, the first fight I'm really, really looking forward to. James Vick, the guy on the Ultimate Fighter that was just the mysterious guy that somehow couldn't get taken down and kept knocking people out. The Dallas guy who super lanky, gigantic lightweight. It blows my mind he makes lightweight. And then we have the German judoka, Nick Hine, who was just fantastic in his debut. Just looked the part. I mean, he just looked the part of a judo player that converted to MMA and did it well. There's going to be a humongous height disadvantage for Nick Hine here. I mean, it's going to be rather enormous. I mean, we're talking 5 inches, or 5 to 7. No, it's 6 inches.
6'3" to 5'8".
Yeah. That's 7 inches, right? Yeah, that's enormous. If this is correct, of course. Nick Hine was, if you remember watching him in Germany, he was definitely a short guy. And Drew Dober isn't exactly tall either, and he looked, I believe, shorter than him. And I mean, while I would say, dominated Drew Dober, was very hittable, but his judo was bloody amazing. Does anyone remember that fight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a monster.
That was one of the best examples of a judo guy in MMA using judo. He chose to bang. He could have just sat on him, but he chose to bang a lot. But I mean, when he did use the judo, he looked bloody fantastic. I mean, he looked like Akiyama versus Jake Shields when he was just hitting shit that didn't make sense.
Less sexy though.
Obviously not as sexy. Actually, maybe some people like the shorter, stubbier German men. I don't know.
No one is sexier than Akiyama.
No one is sexier, but someone might have different tastes. He's hit a higher level. But back to the point, I think that this fight is going to literally come down to, can Nick Hine get the takedown? And if he can, I think he wins it. I think his judo level is just a bit too high. He is I believe he's a judo national champion in Germany. I think he competed at the Olympic level. I have to verify that before this is over. I checked earlier. Need to make sure that James Vick, while his grappling has looked better, he's still basically a striker with somehow amazing takedown defense. At least from what we've seen. He's got great knockout power, but he also was hittable in his last fight. And I think that while Hine isn't nearly as technical, has not near the reach, I think he could catch. I think they can catch each other, and it'll just come down to who can get the takedown. I'm split. I'm leaning towards Vic, but my heart says Hine. So someone from Vic before I try. He's jumping in.
Brandon, you go ahead.
All right. Let's see. Well, I'm gonna take Nick Hine in that fight only because he's so much taller, so much lengthier, so much better striking. He's just all around better fighter.
That's Vic. I think you mean Vic.
My fault, Vic. Yeah. Yeah, I just don't think that Nick Hine is gonna be able to deal with the pressure. I mean, dude, James Vick is 6'3", Nick Hine is 5'8". That's a huge difference.
I agree.
So I'm gonna take James Vick by KO.
Totally can see it.
You got a round?
Who's talking?
What round do you think? Nick?
Yeah.
What round do you think he'll KO him?
Oh, a round. Oh, definitely. I think the first round. I think that's going to be his opportunity is going to be the first round because I think that Nick Hine is a German fighter, and I don't know where he fights out of. I don't know if he fights with Dennis Seaver. I don't know if he fights with, I don't know. There's no real information out there, so we have to find out.
Sports.
Do you know who trains over there?
Literally no one, but I'm sure he's had to move.
Literally, I'm sure there's somebody that trains.
No one there. It's just
no one named. Go to Sherdog right now. Go to Sherdog's Fight Finder. No one else goes to that gym.
All right. Well, I guess I've flip-flopped on this one because I agree with you guys. I think if Hine can get it to the ground, he could probably control it.
He should have maintained strength.
That's a big if though, man, because Vic's shown some solid takedown defense for being a big lanky guy like that, and also that knee that he caught Cruikshank with coming in on Tough. Yeah, that was brutal, man. So I think if he can time it, I'm taking Vic by knockout too.
Okay, hold on. We have a new
got some
addition. We have a new
people.
addition to the cast.
What's
Chris?
up, man?
What's up,
Okay, you just went
everybody?
black.
Hey,
Hello.
how are you?
What's up, Chris?
Let's see if I can get this set up.
Dude, you're wearing an r/MMA shirt.
Oh yeah, I am.
I made those.
Oh, fantastic! Good, good.
I hate those.
Trust me. I hate them too now. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to let everyone know. Someone else jumped in. I think his name was Scott, and then he disappeared.
Yeah, come back, Scott.
Yeah, whenever Scott comes back, we'll introduce him. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. But back on the Nick Hine fight, was anyone else wanting to talk about Nick Hine?
Cody, who you got?
Yeah. Let me jump in on this. I'm exactly with the two of you. I think James Vick will knock him out. He's good with strikes up the middle. As you can see, he knocked out Khrushchenko on the Ultimate Fighter with a knee. Nick Hine was knocked out by knees by Sebastian Risch. I don't know who that guy is. I didn't see the fight, but the height discrepancy, the reach discrepancy between the hand, I mean with the arms and the legs, it's just too great. I think Nick Hine either wins a very close decision or gets knocked out in the early rounds by James Vick, probably by a strike up the middle, followed up with a combination.
I can see that. I'd like to say the guy that you said that knocked him out fights at welterweight and middleweight.
Yeah,
Just to clarify, and he's 5'11".
that's important information.
Not as big, but he's a much bigger person.
Right.
Nick Hine is used to fighting. He's a 55er, and I could see even 45er if he gave up some of that gigantic muscle.
He's thick. He's thick.
If anyone remembers, even when he wasn't being technical, he literally was just throwing Drew Dober around. It was kind of crazy. Like the amount of pure strength he has with no technique whatsoever was kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Can he do it? I don't know. It's another one of those fights where it's either going to end in a crazy KO or we're going to see someone get just sat on by world-class judo. And it may be submitted. He has good submissions, really good submissions. And he transitions from the he really likes the half guard and transitions really well to the three-quarter guard. I really like what he does on top. But I can totally see Vic just straight up flying kneeing him to death.
Chris, do you have a take on James Vick versus Nick Hine?
You know, I don't think I've seen Nick Hine fight. I don't know if you guys know any of the cards he's been on, but off the top of my head, I can't even think. I mean, also, I don't sleep anymore, so I'm like you know, I'm like literally updating baby pictures for my family, and I was like, oh, cool, everybody's online, great, I can make this. So
Yeah, well, hey, no problem, man.
He was on the UFC Germany prelims.
Yeah.
He was on a big card, but he was definitely. It was a fight of the night. It was a good fight. If you get a chance to go watch it, I'd go watch it.
I'm gonna look it up right now. I mean, I try and catch everything. I mean,
Yeah, it's not a finish. I'll warn you there, but it is an exciting fight. It's a really good fight. We will head on to the next fight. Then we're kind of split on that one too. Well, it's kind of those fights where I'm leaning Vic as well with you guys, but it's kind of like the Lamas Bermudez thing. I can totally see Hine pulling the upset here, and he isn't a dog. And I'd like to address, we haven't brought this up in the previous few, and Duho Choi is a negative 350 favorite over Puig.
Because he's going to murder him.
Okay, I'm saying we had some differing opinions there. I'm just letting everyone know he is a huge favorite to the plus 300 Puig. Van Zant is a slight favorite at negative 140 over Curran. Eve Edwards is negative 240 to plus 200 of Akbar Ariola. And Hine is plus 200, a little below that, 190 and some, 180, to Vic's negative 225. So that's just so see where we're thinking and where the odds are being placed. We'll go over them in the next ones. Who's the first one to take it? Brandon, do you want to take Barnett versus Roger Navarez?
I'll take it. I got Barnett in that fight. He's a killer, man. He's just. I think that him and Clint Hester. I think that Clint Hester could have beat Robert Whittaker. I think they could have both been in title contention because I think those dudes have the most talent out of all the guys I've ever seen in tough.
You think Clint Hester and Luke Barnett have the most talent out of any fighters ever in tough?
I think so. I feel it in my bones, man. When I watch Clint Hester fight and I see him, get exploited with his, takedown defense, and then I hear the shots that he's throwing off his back, like it sounds like he's breaking bones when he's throwing shots. Like that is something that you can't teach.
He is the
That's
head,
like,
Busso.
No. I don't disagree with him having lots of talent. I just think that there's like guys that have gone on to be like #1 contenders, and we've had some champ level guys.
There's Rashad Evans, there's Forrest Griffin, there's
That's
T.J.
what I'm saying.
Dillashaw.
Can he do it? I think he could. I'm a big fan of these people, but I would wager that there are guys that have gone further and will have gone further than them. But we'll see. I want to see them go further.
So yeah, continuing on. I think that Luke is gonna kill this guy. I think that he has the best Muay Thai. I think he's just an all-around better talent. And the only way that in his last fight he fought to a split decision, and in that fight a lot of people thought that he could have won that fight. So I think in this fight he's gonna come out like a bat out of hell, as the expression says, and destroy this cat.
Yeah, I agree. I got Barnett winning. I think he'll probably knock him out. That's just probably more because I'm really high on Barnett more than I am, because I was looking up the only time I've ever seen Roger Narvaez, I don't know how you say his last name. He fought.
That was right.
Yeah, he fought Pat Cummings up at 205. He's a natural 185er, and he went up a weight class to fight a dominant wrestler, that's tough for anybody.
On short notice.
On short notice. So, I mean, I don't take anything away from him on that one, man. He's going to get tossed around by Pat Cummins going up. Pat Cummins probably outweighed him by 25, 30 pounds on fight night. So
he defended some of those takedowns, too, if you remember that fight. He
Yeah,
defended a decent bit and was competitive for a while.
he was. So, yeah, I hope this guy doesn't get cut if he does lose. I'd like to give him at least one more shot.
These short notice guys, the UFC needs to be more lenient on these guys. Like, oh, yeah, we'll give you this fight, 3 weeks notice, blah, blah, blah. You can't treat it like a normal fight, like you'd give the guy a 3 month. I don't like how they're doing that. It's not professional.
I agree. They do that with Charlie Brenneman. Like, he came out a bunch of short notice fights just to get KO'd and then kicked out and then brought back in again. That's not cool.
Feel bad. We can't talk about Charlie Brenneman here. I'm gonna cry.
But yeah, so
all the time.
So I got I think Barnett will knock him out just because he's got pretty solid striking, and I don't know enough about Roger Narvaez to pick him. So
Yeah, I think Barnett's going to be one of those guys. A real, he'll be a player, but in like 2 years. But a nice. If they take him along slowly, he'll mature well. But I think he's got a lot of momentum, but it's more from personality than anything else. But I love his dimensions. He's like the quintessential like long rangy guy who he's like almost never at a reach disadvantage, which is just huge. If you have good striking and a reach advantage, that's a big thing.
Oh, I agree.
It seems like all of us will be picking Big Slow against the Silverback because I got him picked as well. Luke Barnett broke my heart when he beat Andrew Craig.
I do want to at least say that. This guy Roger. I mean, he did come on short notice against Patrick Cummings, so that might mean that like when he has a full training camp, he might be a killer. We don't even know yet.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys watched his previous fights? I've watched most of his fights. The Narvaez.
Nope. The only one I've ever seen is Pat Cummins.
Yeah, I've only seen the Pat Cummings fight, and I was on a win.
I would not judge him based on that fight. I'll say that much.
Mm-hmm.
While I think Barnett should, based on what he's shown, what Barnett's capable of, he should win. But I would put this in a similar category to Nick Hine, James Vick. I can see Narvaez winning. I can see him outstriking him. I definitely think he's got more power. That's a big issue, and especially coming down, and considering how well he handled takedowns and wrestling against Cummins, I can see it. But I'd say he definitely deserves being a big favorite here. I wouldn't say negative 345. I would say negative 250 to maybe 280. It's like negative 350 around there right now. I would take Narvaez on the odds right now. Those odds are not the best for Barnett at all. Considering, while I thought he could have won the last fight, very hittable again. Came forward, got hit a lot, man. Took a lot of big shots from that guy who had a broken hand the whole time, supposedly. I forget his name. But yeah, I'm going to be the guy and just pick Narvaez because you guys are falling in line. So
I got one question. Did any of you guys agree with the decision that Barnett lost his last fight?
Yes.
No.
I do.
I don't remember.
It was really close, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can totally see why someone would say the other one. I thought he just got hit a lot more and took bigger shots.
Yeah,
He
he looked really damaged.
Yeah, it was
He came
close.
forward. He was aggressive and used the pressure, but he took bigger shots.
Hmm.
And it's like, which one did you value more? And I valued the bigger shots.
Yeah.
Some people could see the aggression. I can totally see that.
Fair
And
enough.
his jab was so nasty in that third round. His jab was so nasty. I can remember that very clearly. It's the third round he won, I think. Like, no matter what you say. But yeah, it was Sean Strickland.
Does anyone see a similarity between Luke Barnett and James Vick, or is that just me?
Yeah, I mean, they have similar body styles for sure, body types for sure.
Kinda.
Both coming from the Ultimate Fighter, similar body styles, extremely tall for the weight class,
Both have
kind of striking-based fighters. I think.
I can see a similarity. They're definitely different kinds of strikers, but both.
Oh yeah, of
both
course,
their
but
wrestling-
still, I mean,
they're striking to get the wins, and they're both their jabs are both real nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
got the Jab brothers winning both their fights tonight or tomorrow night.
I can definitely see that. Jordan, let's do Ruslan Magomedov, the heavyweights, heavyweight versus Josh Copeland. And what is his nickname? I forgot. It's
The Cuddly
The
Bear.
Cuddly Bear.
Cuddly Bear. Yeah, we
The
got
leopard
this
is
heavyweight
fighting the
fight.
Cuddly Bear.
And they're
Yeah.
Undefeated versus 12-1, 9-0 versus 12-1. Give it.
Yeah. I've only watched a couple fights from both guys. Copeland is like a big, aggressive, moving forward, throwing punches, trying takedowns. He just very, very aggressive in your face in the couple fights that I've seen him. And he finished most of his fights pretty quickly, too. Magomedov, pretty solid submissions. I think he's another Sambo guy, another combat Sambo guy.
Yeah.
So he's got some pretty slick submissions. I think what will probably happen is they'll trade. I think Magomedov will have the more technical, crisp striking and probably hit Copeland a couple times. He's not going to like that. Try to get the fight to the ground, and I think Magomedov will submit him once it gets to the ground pretty early.
Brandon, give us your thoughts.
I think that it's going to be a close fight. I think it's going to play out like this. I think that the heavyweight Russian dude is going to get hit once, and it's going to change his whole game plan. He's going to start playing like a ground pressure sort of thing. He's going to try to take the fight to the ground. He's going to submit Josh Copeland. You're hearing it right now first.
Okay, I didn't know if you had any more. I can definitely see that. Chris, you got any thoughts on this?
I'm picking Magomedov by decision. He's. I think sometimes, especially in your first fight, there's like two tacks that people take. Sometimes you want to go and you make a big splash, or you want to go and you want to get the win no matter what.
Yeah, very true.
I was just taking a peek at his Wikipedia page, and I know it was about a year ago. He took a 3-rounder from Tim Sylvia. Who I don't care what anybody says. I wish was in the UFC.
Yeah, it was really nice of his manager at Domino's to give him the night off himself.
But yeah, I'm Magomedov, Russian, who's got a gas tank enough to hold someone down and take care of business. I'm picking him. Also, I've got a tried and true betting technique. It is you never pick the guy who does not have a Wikipedia page.
Okay, I got that.
Okay.
Good thoughts, Cody. Let's hear your thoughts on these two.
All right, listen, we got the leopard versus the cuddly bear. That's all you need to know. However, I got Josh Copeland winning by disqualification due to Ruslan Magomedov having the first murder inside the octagon. I'm going to the bathroom. I'll be right back, but that's my pick.
Walt Harris 2.0.
Walt Harris.
That was a good pick. That was a really good pick. Okay, I'm gonna go with Copeland, probably by knockout, maybe TKO. I don't think if any of you saw Ruslan's last couple fights, especially the Victor Penta fight, he's hittable, very hittable, and his wrestling, while good against a complete non-wrestler, who had, if I remember, let me check. I remember the lead up to this fight. he was a jiu-jitsu guy who had not wrestled at any level and had been fighting mostly European guys, and he did very good against Ruslan wrestling-wise, but eventually Ruslan just got him down, and yeah, he got to him. But Copeland, while I don't believe has a clear wrestling background, is a grudge, is surrounded by wrestlers, he's at a far better camp, and he's fought at way better organizations against overall better people, in my opinion, outside of a few. Maybe Gluhov, a loss he has, if you recognize that name. He's a decent Russian guy.
Didn't Gluhov just die? No, maybe I'm thinking the wrong guy. There was a no, Gluhov didn't die. I'm sorry, that was stupid of me.
Gluhov, no. That's not,
there was a Russian. There was a young guy who just died. A young heavyweight that was pretty solid.
This guy, well, the Gluhov, he's fought some big people, but it's a different guy.
No, yeah, I'm done.
Overall, I would say that Copeland is. I think his style is going to be real tough because if Ruslan gets hit a lot, I'd say he might be slightly more technical, but I think Copeland's a lot faster, a lot more explosive, and he's got a really good chin. And if he just sprawls out, I think he's going to sprawl and brawl. I think he's going to sprawl and brawl him to death. And Ruslan, while I think he's probably incredibly mentally tough, I don't think he's going to be able to handle someone who is going to do that to him. Because I mean, he has not had to face anyone that's done that to him yet. And I don't know. I'm just going to lean with it. I think it's going to be a knockout or TKO. I think he's going to rock him and then TKO him on the ground. But
I can see that.
Yeah, that's my pick. I'm cool with whatever, but I'm gonna pick the Cuddly Bear. His name's just so much better. Don't even lie to yourselves. So much better. Cuddly Bear. What a boss. Okay, we got someone we were talking about earlier. Isaac Valleyflag versus Matt Wyman. Cody, you're back. You take this one. Or is that a frozen picture?
Honestly, I haven't watched Valleyflag fight recently. And Matt Wyman hasn't fought in a while either. I have no idea, to be honest with you. It's a coin toss for me, just because I'm...
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I can see that.
So this one comes down to the matchup of the guy who hasn't won in 2 years versus the guy who hasn't fought in 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's... I'm taking...
I like the way you put that. That's a great... You should
That is. That really is. That's nice.
So I'll take Wyman just because the last time I did see him, he looked... Well, I mean, I know he got TKO'd or KO'd in his last fight, but I've always liked watching him fight. He's a pretty pressure-forward guy, and 2 years is a long time, but I'll take Wyman just because Valleyflag has never impressed me. So.
Okay, I'm gonna give you guys my facts real quick. Well, that also he hasn't won in 2 years. His 3 fights that he won before that are all split decisions that you could, if you go watch them, he clearly could have lost all of them if a judge had just been a little more interested in the other fighter. It was super close, so you could go. He could have had a over 3-year losing streak now if he had lost those all 3 split decisions to Melanson, Jesus Cavalcante, and Yves Edward. But he's definitely, and he's consistent at being mid-level. I don't know what it is about him. But Matt Wyman is just a different level, guys. I don't know. It's been a while since we've seen him. He got knocked out by the great TJ Grant, who's, I don't know if we'll ever see him again, but I mean, the dude armbarred Paul Sass. His only losses are like Dennis Seaver, Jim Miller, Sam Stout. They're all decisions and really old, like 5-6 years ago. I mean, outside of TJ Grant just demolishing him, you can't really name a time where he just looked terrible. And he's always, other than him wearing really large pants, there's nothing really. You see him, he wears those gigantic board shorts. I mean, like, they're past his knees, man, like, really far. And he wears them with pride. But, I mean, he's really technical. He's got good wrestling. He's got pretty good striking. Other than TJ Grant doing that to him and Dennis Seaver throwing kicks like crazy, he's never been really hurt much in the UFC. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna go for just like a shellacking here, just a one-sided beatdown, maybe a submission win for Matt Wyman here. Anyone's thoughts on this?
Yeah, man, I think you're totally right. If I'm not mistaken, I think that I think the management at UFC really likes Matt Wyman, and sometimes they'll give people a showcase fight, and it's not as obvious when they're not as big a name, You know, like when Eric Silva fought that guy Sato, it was like, oh, he's gonna tear right through this guy and get a highlight reel win, and that's 1, 2, 3. But I think they're doing this for Wyman, especially because it's the opening of the main card. I mean, they want to see fireworks. I think about, I think card placement matters. It affects, it tells you a lot about how they perceive this fight is going to play out. And you're right. I mean, I looked at Valley Flag, and it's like he could be on an 0-5 run right now, if not more. Essentially he has no exceptional performances at the upper level, whether it's Strikeforce or the UFC. And Matt Wyman's resume is, honestly, it's fantastic. Whether he wins or loses, he's got Cole Miller, Jim Miller, like you said, T.J. Grant. I mean, he's got a lot of great names all over his. The Deceiver loss is a decision. He's got 2 wins over Danzig. He's got Paul Sass. He's got enough experience that I can't. I think this is a showcase fight for him.
Yeah, I can see that being that. I mean, I think it's more of like Jordan put it, a guy who hasn't won in 2 years versus the guy who hasn't fought. It's like, well, I don't think they'll cut Matt Wyman. They're cutting Valley Flag if he loses. And if Matt Wyman loses, he's on. While I'm sure they like him, and while I'm sure he is a fan favorite for the hardcores, I know he definitely is for me. He's a name that a lot of people don't know, but I know that name, and I always will. He's a great fighter. I think that if he loses, he's going to be on thin ice, though. I mean, you can't be gone that long, come back, and then lose to a Valley Flag. It's kind of like whoever loses is either out or almost out. So,
Brandon, who you got?
That's me, sir. Anyways.
Your opinion on this?
Who do you got on this one, Brandon?
I mean, like, as much as I like Valley Flag, if I'm being honest here, I think that Valley Flag is shit, and I think that Valley Flag has looked like shit for a really long time. And I think that in this fight, it really comes down to what you guys said. The guy who hasn't won in 2 years was the guy who hasn't fought in 2 years. The guy who hasn't won in 2 years has been active. Now, it really comes down to, is that activity going to be beneficial towards him, or not? And it really comes down to how badly has Matt Wyman been, deteriorating while away. If you guys look at the picture of his post-surgery, there was all types of gross shit that I can't remember, Yeah. So with that said, it also depends on how he's training as well, too. Like, what happens with people who come back from injury, sometimes their training partners take it easy on them, and they don't get as much training as they would like. And it's possible that he could come in here thinking he's ready to go and just get tapped on the jaw and get knocked out. It's possible, but it's Valley Flag, so it probably won't happen. So I'm going to go with Matt Wyman via decision.
Ooh.
Solid pick. That's what I got, too.
Anyone else didn't get to chime in? No? Okay. Just to clarify, Matt Wyman is a negative 200 favorite over Valley Flag, who is plus 170. If that affects anything. Gonna be a good fight. But yeah. Also, just to clarify, on the first win for Matt Wyman versus Mac Danzig, that's that really infamous fight where the Yves Levine stopped the fight when they thought he was tapping and he didn't.
Yeah.
And they had
Matt Wyman was saying, he was like, he tapped, and so Yves Levine stopped the fight because Wyman told him that Danzig tapped.
Yeah, it was a real clusterfuck. That was a funny fight.
Yeah.
Just so everyone knows, back in history, that happened. Next fight, I'll take it. We have Dustin Ortiz out of Rufus Sport versus Joseph Benavidez out of Team Alpha Male. This is a 125-pound showcase fight. This is a kind of a contender eliminator because the division's so short. Not okay, they are literally short, but I mean it's there's a better word. Very thin. Benavidez, while he keeps losing when he gets to the top, Ortiz has had some real rough wins to get to where he's at right now. He's while he's a Rufus Sport, where I'm sure you guys know is a very striking-oriented gym. He's a high-level wrestler, but I mean he hasn't really lost the wrestler. I don't know if you know the early Josh Koscheck where he kind of just threw bungalows and then just wrestled you to hell. Dustin Ortiz looks like a 125-pound version of Josh Koscheck with a little bit more refined, just a little bit right now. He's Does anyone remember his fight? I think it was both of his last two fights. I think all of us could say he lost those. You can argue both of them. Justin Scoggins, which was only 3 months ago, roughly, and 4 months, and Ray Borg. Both of those, I thought he lost. What are your thoughts on those? I want to hear your thoughts. Because he could theoretically be out of the UFC right now.
I thought he lost the Borg fight, but I thought the fight before that, I thought he actually beat John Moraga. So I thought he should have.
Okay, I can see that.
I thought he should have won that fight. I thought he lost to Borg, and I actually had him beating Scoggins, just because dominant top position. In that fight, I picked him for that one. But this fight against Benavidez, man, like you as a wrestling guy, you must be like, oh shit, yeah, because these are two high level wrestlers. Like,
I'm
really
not shit, but I mean, I feel like like the Moraga fight, I can totally see your point there. I think the thing is his wrestling is getting him just there. It's just there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
it's like there. While he got knocked the fuck out, he's there. Like, does anyone remember his last fight? I mean, the mounted guillotine with the arms locked.
The Joa Constrictor.
He was getting worked by Elliott before that, but still, the fact that he's able to still come back and get that gnarly guillotine, make him tap with his foot.
Foot tap. No, I know it was a tough fight, but Tim Elliott is by far one of the better wrestlers in that division and one of the better fighters in that division.
Tim Elliott's extremely underrated, I think, I think he's a higher level competition than Dustin Ortiz is personally. Although I think Ortiz is a great fighter, but still. He's just not on that level yet, and I think we can all pretty much agree, or at least I know that you're gonna agree that Joseph Benavidez is gonna probably finish Dustin Ortiz in this fight.
I think it's gonna be a submission of your naked. That's I'm like really specific on it. I think that they're gonna go into the ring or the cage, and Ortiz is gonna try and throw bungalows. Like you've seen him. Go watch the fights where he starts losing. I mean, in general, he throws lots of bungalows, man. He tries to work the jab. But he gets flustered, his nose turns red, and he throws fucking huge power punches. And Joseph Benavidez is going to take you down, or if you get him down, he's going to reverse the shit out of you. I mean, he is probably, outside of Mighty Mouse, the most technical grappler in that weight class. I don't think there's... Ray Borg's coming up. Ray Borg's like that prospect, and I think he can get there too. But right now, if you pick two guys in that weight class, it's those two for me. Yep. Well, I think... Dodson is up there, but not as a pure grappler. That dude's just crazy athletic and, like, amazing striking. He's the kind of sprawl and brawl, but more technique. But, I mean, I think Benavidez is just going to submit his ass really fast. Ray Borg almost submitted him. I just forgot his name. Scoggins almost armbarred him and choked him multiple times. I mean, he's really susceptible to chokes, and he powers through things. I don't think you can power
He's never, just real quick before Chris or Brandon chimes in, he's never been finished. So if Joe does,
it'll be a first.
That'll be his first finish. So.
But Joe Benavidez has a couple. He's popped a few cherries there, guys. He's been the guy to finish a guy who's like, I'm undefeated. He's the humbler, man. He's the humbler. I like him. I like Ortiz. This is no slight at Ortiz. I think he's incredibly exciting. But I mean, I could see him being on a 0-4 streak right now, man. It could. Not like Valley Flag. I think he's fighting the top level of his guys, and he's getting by with real tight fights against really talented people. But you could say he lost them. What are your thoughts on this, guys? Give me some.
All right. I think that we're going to have a not-so-close fight. I think that Joseph Benavidez is going to tear through Ortiz. I don't think that Ortiz is on his level. I think that Benavidez is going to outstrike him, outgrapple him to a first-round submission.
You agree? Anyone else?
I think if Ortiz wins, it's going to be by throwing one of those bungalows that you're talking about, just randomly catching Benavidez and knocking him out clean. But I do not see that happening. But if Ortiz is going to win, that is how I think he will win. However, I got
a bungalow.
I don't think he could out wrestle. I think he might have really good wrestling. I don't think he could just hit on Benavidez.
Let Chris hop in on this. Chris, who you got in this fight?
Oh, neck and neck. Neck and neck. I really liked seeing Ortiz fight in the Justin Scoggins fight. I thought it was, I don't know. While it's always really great seeing, a prospect shoot up the ranks, I think it's always exciting even more when they get stopped kind of early in their rise, but they get to kind of keep moving along and they don't get like I'm talking about Scoggins. They don't get stopped as like a co-main event, that's when you really get your momentum derailed, and I don't know. I like what I've seen from Ortiz. I'm really looking for this to be like a neck and neck fight. And I'm choosing decision. I can't pick a winner, but I'm saying it's going to be a decision.
Possible. I can definitely see it. Both those, all of their, or all of Ortiz's last fights, didn't thought they were going to decision. I'll tell you that from the beginning. I didn't think any of them were. They did. Anyone else before we go on? Okay, just let me give you the odds real quick. Ortiz is plus 330 to Benavidez negative 420.
He's a big favorite.
Big favorite. Jordan, do you want to take Jared Rochat over Oleksiy Olenek?
Yeah, this one I want to pick Olenek because Rochat puts me to sleep, man. I appreciate wrestling, but Rochat take you down and just hold you down, and it kind of drives me crazy. So I'm picking Rochat by decision, but I would love to see Olenek submit him somehow.
Bryn?
I'm sorry, I can barely hear you guys. You guys are lagging a lot.
Brandon. Or are you just out of it? Chris?
I can't hear you.
Okay, I took Rochat by decision. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Yep. I actually, in that fight, I took the underdog because I believe that with his wins, let me check out his wins. I believe he has a win over Miracle Crowcrop, and he has a win over. Let me check this out. Let's see. He beat Crowcrop. He beat Tony Lopez, who is a badass. He beat Dion Starring. He beat Anthony Hamilton. I mean, this guy. He lost to Jeff Munson, but that's not that bad. That's a split decision to Jeff Munson. So
and he took him out.
From what I see, this guy is an amazing submission grappler, and I think that Jared's gonna take him down and try to wrestle fuck him, and it's not gonna happen. I think he's gonna get submitted armbar, 3rd round.
Chris?
No way, Rochelle, the whole way through. I know that they're high on him a little bit. He's not exciting, but I remember when he got matched up with Saul Paleli. Paleli had 3 knockouts in a row in the heavyweight division, and that was never once mentioned. It was a foregone conclusion that Rochelle was going to take him apart, and he did. And I don't know. I also want Oleksiy to lose because he beat Crowcop, and that hurts. Listen, I got to check out for a little bit. I'm going to try and come back in, though. It's nice meeting you guys.
Okay.
Good talking with you, man.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for doing it.
Have a good one, dude. Cody?
All right.
You
So, as a wrestler, I want to lean towards Rochat. Further evidence by the fact that he beat the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend. I think we all know who we're talking about here. I'm talking about Walt Harris. He has victory over him, which is nothing to sleep on. However, I'm going to pick Olenek in this fight. He's got some good wins, like Brandon was talking about. He's got wins over a whole bunch of people, including choking out Jeff Monson, which is really impressive. So I'm going to pick the underdog in this fight. I'm going with Olenek by submission.
Okay, I can. I'll guess I'll join the Rochelle crew. Well, I love Olenek.
I just call him Olenek.
Olenek. Okay, I went and saw him live in his debut, and I bet a ton of money on him. Okay, against Anthony Hamilton, and I knew he was going to win because Anthony Hamilton did not have a ground game, at least not near the level. But now we're talking about one of best wrestlers to come to MMA in recent history. And I don't say that lightly. I mean, he's a 3-time All-American. I'm checking a few things. He's a 3-time Big 12 finalist. He always got to the qualifiers for Division I.
He's a beast wrestler, man.
He's done a bunch of Olympic freestyle stuff. If we're gonna talk, other than like Yoel Romero, he's like top 2, top 3 right now in MMA. That's actually like in the UFC that's doing big things. Okay, especially heavyweight. Okay. Yeah. And while he's got holes. His striking is his biggest thing, and his gas tank has been very questionable. But Olenek does not threaten him in those places for the most part. Okay, if you know Oleksik's or Olenek style, he has to outright. He really what it is he has to reverse you, and you're not going to reverse Jared Roshaw unless you're like fucking enormous or a better wrestler. And Soa Plele was able to kind of at the end do kind of something, kind of after getting completely wrestle fucked to death. Oily Neck got taken down by Anthony Hamilton, and he used superior grappling, got him, and then got rid of him. He submitted him. And I knew that was going to happen. But this is Roshaw. We're really underrating how this man is a next level. Like whether we like him or not, whether he's boring or not, he is such a level above these people that he's fighting.
And Olenek did choke out or did submit Jeff Munson in their second fight. In his first fight, Munson dominated him, just wrestled the hell out of him. So.
And Munson is a bit over the edge at this point, but I mean that doesn't mean it's not a good
Very
win.
solid grappler.
Roshaw hasn't even been using his other skills right now, guys. He's like not even going for submissions.
Yeah.
He's literally riding you, throwing a leg in, and just controlling and battering you. And it's amazing what he's able to do. He's doing better, in my opinion, than he's using more pure wrestling than even Ben Askren is, and he's just completely stealing your soul.
I think our discussion on that has been more.
Abs one.
Oh, sorry. I probably did take it too far. I think it's kind of a mismatch until he gets to like a Cain Velasquez. He's gonna sit on people.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I think our discussion on the topic has been more exciting than the fight's gonna be.
I know. I mean, I'm excited for him because I know that eventually someone's gonna be able to sprawl, and it's gonna make it really exciting because he has not the best chin.
No. Let's hop on the next one. What's the next fight?
I'll start first. We've got this one. I know we're gonna enjoy this one. I think. We got Chico Camus. Also, well, he might have moved camps recently, but he was Rufus Sport.
I think he just moved back to Rufus Sport.
He moved back. I know for a camp he moved away.
Yeah.
I think he moved back. Let me verify it. Yeah, we're verifying everything now after that. We're verifying everything. Man. Yeah, he's back at Rufus Sport according to Sherdog right now. Yeah, Brad Pickett versus Chico Camus. We got the Rufus Sport. Chico Camus is the kickboxer who learned how to wrestle, and he is able to sit on a lot of people outside of a few guys, mainly Chris Holdsworth and Kyung Ho Kang, if you guys remember those two fights.
Both those guys are very solid prospects, too.
He won against Ho Kang, okay?
Yeah.
But it was very close. He got mounted like 4 times. It was a unanimous, but 2 of the judges gave 1 round to I think it was 2 or 3 of them gave a round to Ho Kang, and you could have given another one. It was one of those ones where it was like almost a split. It was very weird, very close fight. Yeltsin Izzy he got, but Holdsworth just that was mean. That was mean, and it wasn't nice, and he just beat the shit out of him. But outside of those two, he can sit on like tons of people, man. And he's got the kickboxing, but his height is a huge disadvantage. Pickett's got that chin issue, not chin issue so much, but I mean it's definitely deteriorating as he's gotten a little older. And let me check how old he is real quick so we can reference this. He's definitely one of the older guys at this weight class. He's 36.
He's 36, guys. Yeah.
36 at 125 pounds, guys. Just think about that. Whether he's short or not, that's hard. That's a hard cut. And his chin's looked a little weak lately. I'm gonna lean Pickett by decision, but I could see Camus possibly getting a random TKO, rocking him, or pulling out a wrestling thing of his own. What's your opinion, Brandon?
I got Brad Pickett winning by decision. I think that Chico just doesn't have the skills to put Pickett on the ground. Even though McCall was a better wrestler in that fight against Pickett, I just think that they're not on the same level. And I think that Chico coming down to 125, if he has a healthy weight cut, and that's if he does, he should be fine. He should put up a good fight. It won't be a one-sided domination, but that's if the weight cut is fine. This is his first time cutting down to 125. We have no idea how well he'll do.
Good point.
So I'm going to go with Pickett decision.
Is Chris still here?
No, Chris had to step away, he said.
Died a horrible death.
Cody, who you got in this one?
I'll tell you what, I'm definitely rooting for Brad Pickett. I've been a huge fan of his ever since he pulled out that Peruvian necktie in WC 45. But I'm gonna be the odd man out here and just like pick an oily neck on Chico Camus. I'm gonna pick the king, Chico Camus. It's just one of those weird feelings that I got that this time it's just gonna be the guy that just rises to the occasion. he might be too strong for Pickett. Pickett kind of seems to be on the downside of his career. He's taken so much punishment, been through so many battles. His body is deteriorating. I just don't think. I think one is kind of the up and comer. The other guy is kind of towards the end of his career, and that's kind of how I see the way things are going to play out. I hope I'm wrong.
I am right there with you, actually. I think Chico Camus, after this fight, is going to need to write a thank you letter to Chris Holdsworth for sending him down to 125 where he should have been a long time ago, because he was small for 135. He's like 5'6" or something like that. He belonged at 125 for a long time, and I think just getting manhandled by Holdsworth was the straw that broke the camel's back and put him down at 125. So I agree, man. Pickett's a great fighter, and you can't take anything away from what he's done. But I think he's just been through too many wars. I think Camus will be able to get the fight to the ground, and I don't think he'll be able to finish him, but I think Camus will win a pretty handy decision.
Anyone else's thoughts? I just wanted to raise a few things about this. Is kind of, I didn't realize this. I did watch a bunch of fights previous to this, but Alpatyn Oskalic and Dustin Page beat Chico Camus, who are also at 125. And Dustin Page has lost like 6 fights in a row.
Yeah, that's a bad loss.
I'm just letting you, and that wasn't that long ago. That was 2 years ago. I do see the holes that Brad Pickett is starting to show. I'm leaning even more heavily on Brad Pickett now. I'm going to have to be even the further dissenter on here. With losses to guys like that, nothing against Dustin Page. He seemed like a great person. And while Oskalic, I'm going to mess up his name, the Turkish guy. He's a good wrestler. He's also much more one-dimensional. Brad Pickett, I think, unless he gets caught, I think he's going to run through him after that. I didn't realize that. Dustin Page dominated him. Wow, I'm looking at some GIFs. Sorry. Yeah, I'm going there. Sorry, I'm going to be the dissenter. Jordan, you want to take the next fight? Green versus Edson?
I think you are mistaken on Camus beat Peg.
Oh, I was looking at Kimura, and okay, I was.
Yeah, he beat Alpos Kilic and he beat Dustin Peg. The only loss.
Never mind, you guys are completely right. This is
yeah, yeah. He got subbed by Dustin Kimura and then beat up by Holdsworth.
Thank you for calling me out on that. Yeah, I looked at Kimura.
No problem. I was like agreeing with you, and I was like, wait, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, if he beat them now, I'm completely off. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to Brandon's point about the 25. If the cut's good, he wins. If it's bad, he loses. That's
sure. Fair. Very fair.
Good thing we're fact checking each other. Good job.
Yeah, I will take the next fight because this is the fight I'm probably most excited about because it's got 2 of my favorite fighters on it, man. And I love it, but I hate it when this happens because I know one of them's got to lose, and it sucks. Bobby Green is the better overall fighter, and I think it's hard to argue that because he's beat the better opponents. He's got the better overall rounded game. Mm-hmm. But I want to pick Barboza so badly, man, because I love watching him fight because he's such a technical striker. The only thing he's not technical with is his freaking head movement, man. He keeps his chin right out there so you can crack it, and I think that's what Bobby Green's probably going to do. So I'm taking Green by decision. But I would love to see like a 3-round war from these guys.
Brandon, what are your thoughts?
All right, so I'm going with Bobby Green, man. I think that Bobby Green is the best. I just like maybe I'm swooning over for no reason, but I just feel like he's technically better than him, and I just feel that with everything going on in Bobby Green's life, he has the opportunity to, if he's going to retire, he has an opportunity to leave the sport with a crazy story. He came into the UFC on like a 5-fight winning streak, picked up 3 more wins. Like he's going through the UFC. He has his issue with his brother dying. He has like all types of stuff going on in his community. It's just like he has the story that people need to hear, you know. And I think that this is his opportunity to shine. I think he's going to put Edson away in the first round.
Cody?
I as well am picking Bobby Green. I think he's too elusive. His hands are too good for Barboza. Barboza's got great hands. Obviously, his kicking game is better than his hands. But still, he was lighting up Cowboy before he literally blinked and got smacked on the face with a jab, and that went down. Barbosa's beat better competition. I mean, Green has beat better competition, such as Thompson. He dominated Healy, destroyed Volkman. Barbosa wrecked Dunham, but he had a very close fight with Castillo. He lost Cowboy recently. I'm gonna pick Bobby Green to win this fight.
Yeah, I'm kind of agreeing with you guys. I think that I think Green's actually going to take him down and then TKO him from on top. I have a feeling it's going to be well, I think that Barbosa does have very good jiu-jitsu. I think that whatever his Thai boxing career and his fights in the gym, I think it's just worn on him and his chin's just disappearing.
Yeah.
It's like he's getting dropped by stuff the guys say they shouldn't get dropped by. And I mean, he could inherently just have a weaker chin. That happens to people. But there's no denying that he gets dropped by stuff most guys don't get dropped by. Cowboy doesn't drop people with his jab usually. Well, he has a good jab, a strong, powerful jab. Most guys aren't collapsing from it. And same with Varner getting him like the way he did. Like that.
Does anyone know if he got clipped in the Danny Castillo
Yeah,
fight?
he did. He got dropped in the
first round.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, Danny Castillo is not that technical of a striker. For him to get dropped
He
by
throws
him,
hard though, man. But
when he knocked
Castillo
out
throws
Brenneman,
hard.
I thought he killed him.
I thought he killed him.
No, when I agree.
That was crazy.
When Castillo landed that right hand on Brenneman, I thought he was dead. That was insane.
I thought he definitely got brain damage. Okay, Castillo has power. Not very the best technical, but his jab's decent and overhand's fucking insane.
Yeah, it is. And so this fight is I could see that happening. I could see Bobby Green taken down, but Barboza does have pretty solid takedown defense for the most part. Varner showed the game plan for beating him though. Varner came out there and just bum rushed him. He didn't give him a chance to get set and start throwing those combinations.
You let him get into that tie stance and let him throw those leg kicks.
Oh man, you can't take more than 2 of those.
Unless you're Cowboy. Cowboy just fucking nuts.
Well, fuck, I think Cowboy was probably even starting to maybe limp a little, but it didn't last very long because Cowboy hit him with that jab and it put him down. So I would love to see Barboza win this fight because I think he's the easier one to advertise. I think if you're marketing, if you're the UFC, Barboza's got the highlight reel KOs, man, that you can. Yeah, and Bobby Green, I mean, just to play devil's advocate here, if you look at some of his wins, the Josh Thompson fight was close, and that's not taking anything away. It was a close fight, could have gone either way, could have been a draw. Josh Thompson's a beast, so it was a great performance by Bobby Green. He beat Pat Healy. The James Krause fight, man, he kicked him in the balls 3 times, and they called it a TKO.
No, they kicked him because that last kick was fair. That last kick was fair.
It got, I think it got a lot of
anything. If it just
it definitely hit the cup.
I wouldn't even consider that a nut shot. It's got to hit the fucking cup. And I've been kicked.
It did hit the cup.
People always say that I saw it and it looked like it was like the tougher part.
I think it hit his cup too, man. So I mean,
it was like the side of his ankle hit the cup. It seemed like.
Yeah. Just going.
It shouldn't be ruled a nut shot if it just touches it.
I guess even leading up to it though, he got him square in the ball twice before that.
Oh yeah, he did before that. He definitely did before that. I agree with those are blunt fucking destruction nut shots. I think a point should have been taken.
Yeah, very excited for this.
I don't think the last one was bad. I think that you could call that a fair strike. The nut shots are way too protective, and I've been kicked straight up in the nuts with a cup on, just like from a real motherfucking kicker, not just my friend when we were drunk. Okay, like in a gym with Muay Thai strikers, they kicked me. It hurts like fucking hell, and I collapse. But touching it does not make you collapse. But I'm also not dealing with them. But I mean, you have to it's not right the way they treat it. And we've talked about this previously.
So we're all on Bobby Green, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely Bobby Green.
Yeah.
I think he's more technical. More technical in the overall sense. And
He's a better overall fighter.
Better. Barboza's he's really technical striking, really technical jiu-jitsu, pretty good defense, but it's like they're like separate levels. Like there are these areas he's learned real separately, and they don't flow. I hope that it. Yeah. That's how I feel. It doesn't flow. If that makes sense to you guys, it's like he has modes he goes into, and that's it. Like he's got modes of really good, and then his chin's just not that high level.
I agree.
What it is,
and in the sense that he trains with Frankie Edgar.
Yeah.
He trains with Frankie Edgar, and he still doesn't have the wrestling to stop most takedowns.
He does. He has pretty good defensive wrestling though. He stops a lot of takedowns.
But you can't come in your mid-20s and learn to be a great wrestler.
Yeah,
that's true.
That doesn't happen.
Very true.
Coming from someone that jumped into a college wrestling team, it doesn't happen like that. You could be there 5, maybe even 10 years and still be the worst person there. Like, that happens. That's genuine. And he's a great athlete, but, like, he'll never be a Frankie Edgar, obviously. But I think that he's got modes. And I think Bobby Green flows.
Yeah.
And that's how he's going to beat you. He's going to, let's say he gets rocked, he's going to flow somewhere. When Barboza gets rocked, he collapses and freaks the fuck out, and, like, shit goes wrong. You know what? With the Varner fight, everyone was really confused. It was the Michael Chandler versus, who did he just fight?
Will Brooks.
Will Brooks. It was like that, where, like, he was rocked, fucking confused, because it was, if you remember the fight, that was really surreal. What was going on?
It was strange. All right.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. I think we've gone over where we wanted to be. So let's get to the last fight because it is fucking outstanding.
Yes, Frankie. Edgar.
Frankie and Cub Swanson. Holy shit!
Swanson, yeah.
This is
probably contender.
This is probably one of the best fights not on pay-per-view that I can remember.
Yeah, it's the best fight in this division you can make right now. Or that's been made before, like, that was announced before Aldo Mendez. Like, this is the best 45er fight that we've had since then, and it's the most relevant right now. This is truly the most relevant fight. Jordan, do you want to take this one for us?
Yeah, I'll go first. I flip-flopped a lot on this fight, man, because I'm a huge fan of both guys. I have counted Frankie Edgar out so many times that it's not even funny, and just like probably everyone else in his life, he proves everyone wrong countless, over and over and over. Most heart probably out of any fighter in MMA that I've ever seen personally. He's super tough, and even though, you could argue either way that he has a great chin or he doesn't, because he's been dropped tons of times, but he's never been knocked out and finished, or from those shots. So Cub Swanson's an awesome dynamic striker, man. He throws lots of crazy knees, and he was throwing some like capoeira kicks at Jeremy Stevens in their last fight, which was fucking cool. But man, Frankie is almost on another level. He's pushing pace and using movement. And I for a long time after it was announced, I was taking Swanson. I thought he'd be able to defend the takedowns and land the better strikes. But I'm hopping over. I'm taking Frankie. I think Frankie's gonna withstand an initial barrage. And I think that his cardio and his movement and his footwork, his lateral movement specifically, is going to negate the power that Cub will be able to generate from his strikes. So I'm taking Frankie by a close decision.
Brandon, give us your thoughts.
Let's see. I'm really torn in this fight because I really, really want Cub Swanson to win. That's my dude. I think that he's one of the best strikers at 145, and it sucks that he has to fight Frankie Edgar, one of the toughest guys at 155 and 145. And he's going to have an issue with the wrestling. He's going to have an issue with the boxing. He's going to have an issue with the speed of Frankie Edgar. I think it's going to be too much for him. And, I think that Cub has an opportunity to beat that Cub Swanson Jiu-Jitsu. But I don't think traps. I think he's going to coast to a 5-round decision win, and that sucks because I really want Cup to win.
I feel you're being really objective about it, which is hard to do with these kind of fights.
Yeah.
It's a real #1 contender. Did we lose Cody?
He just hopped back in.
Cody, you back?
He smoked too much kush.
Oh no.
Maybe he's not.
Okay. Well then I think this is one of those fights where I feel bad that Cub has to fight it. Like, I don't want him to have to fight it, but I also get why they have to. Why they're making it, because it gives more relevance to him if he wins. And Edgar is kind of that litmus test, whether or not you agree. Cub hasn't faced anyone like Frankie yet, and the only other option would have been Lamas recently or Mendez, and those weren't really options. And I guess this is their test to put him. They're not going to put Connor through the same test, obviously. They're putting him through it, and I think he's going to lose spectacularly. I just don't think that he's going to be the level of grappler that is needed to defeat someone like Frankie Edgar, who is so accomplished. He's not only a incredibly high-level wrestler, which personally I can speak to. Go watch his tournaments in the NCAAs. He was undersized there. and he just fucking tore people up. He's explosive, fast, and he knows how to transition so well. Uh, his boxing, while I think it is faster and isolated to the 1-2s and 3s, he's more technical. Outside of that, Cub is way more dynamic. But he's a slow starter. If you guys don't remember the Jeremy Stevens fight, he's a very slow starter. Very, very. I mean, he doesn't start out just blowing people out of the water. Usually, I thought he even lost the Jeremy Stevens fight. It was close. I thought he lost it. But he's a slow starter. And I think.
Can you give me more information as to why you thought he lost?
I mean, it was round by round. I had it 3 rounds to 2. I'd have to go and rewatch to give you the rounds, but I watched it there live, and then I watched it again afterwards, and I still thought he lost. But it was close, and I see why he won. People thought he took on, and some people gave him a 10-8 round in the third, I think, which I can kind of see. Kind of. That one I'm not so sure about, the 10-8, but maybe. But I thought it was closer than it was made regardless, and he showed that he's a slower starter. And against someone like Edgar, you can't do that. If he gets early rounds, you're screwed. If Edgar gets the early rounds and this is going to be a decision, you're done. Because he's going to put it on strong later on. And especially if he implements the wrestling, Edgar's going to... I think the level of grappling is humongous. There's a huge difference in their grappling, not just the wrestling. I think that his jiu-jitsu is by far higher level. The only people that have really been able to out-grapple Edgar, and they weren't even really able to, was Ben Henderson, who was lost the wrestling. I'm a huge Bendo fan, but he lost the wrestling for the most part in those fights. And Cub's not going to be able to do that. Cub's not going to come close to doing that, in my opinion. I think he's going to submit Cub. Maybe TKO him, like third round. I think it's just not going to be good. Outside of striking, I don't think it's going to be competitive.
I agree.
But Edgar's chin has looked weak against Charles Oliveira. He got rocked hard as shit. Against the guy that does not look
and I think that when I watched that Charles Oliveira fight when he was fighting Frankie was just like Charles has a tendency to stick his hands out in a sort of John Jones movement, putting his paws out there to test his range and his reach. And Frankie was just whizzing by that and popping him in the face. But that was in the second and third round, So like going forward, like I think that Cub Swanson's gonna have the advantage standing in the first couple rounds, but when he gets past the second round, he's going to deal with being exposed for being a shitty wrestler because he has a tendency to land on his back for people who aren't that good wrestlers. Like Dennis Seaver had him on his back. That's not cool. Dennis Seaver may be a judo technician, but he's not an outright wrestler. And Frankie Edgar is.
Yeah, Dennis Seaver is fucking enormous, and he's got the power to just blast your ass on the ground. But there's a difference between just being brutally strong and athletic and someone who's a very high-level wrestler with that same strength and athleticism. That's when you saw it against Gray Maynard, where he was just literally... This is like the elite Gray Maynard before all the shit happened.
Yeah.
He was just...
Before the drugs.
His wrestling was... Oh, my God. As a wrestler, it's like beautiful to see something like that. And I think and go back to Cub Swanson versus... what is that fight? I just forgot. It was his last fight at 45 before he moved back up. He won it. Ross Pearson. Ross Pearson took him down and held him down. Just held him down. And Cub couldn't do anything. Couldn't do a damn thing.
I mean, I just watched that fight. I just watched that fight like 10 minutes ago, maybe an hour ago. And from the bottom, he was throwing some pitter-patter strikes, but he had amazing jiu-jitsu. He was swiveling his hips. He was not stagnant laying on his back. He was trying to get up at all points.
Do anything. Whether or not he looked like he was trying to make moves. That was against Ross Pearson, and he still didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't get any advantage. He was on his back the whole. Once it got there, he was down and done. He didn't get to a better position. He didn't regain anything. He didn't hit a sweep. He didn't get to the cage really. He was on. I think he was in half guard the whole round. I mean, once it got there, he was there the whole time. And he hit with that punch in the second round and knocked him out, which was kind of early, but it was kind of.
I thought that was beautiful, man. That finish of him backing up and catching him at that was amazing.
That's the striking he brings to the table.
That was awesome.
That's at 55, and Edgar, while he was a 55er, has got a huge speed advantage over Ross Pearson. And I think what it is you saw Ross Pearson sit on him there. Frankie Edgar can do that and then pass his guard. Frankie Edgar can do that and get your back. Frankie Edgar can do that and pick you up and throw you. Even though he's going to be physically smaller, he did a jumping suplex thing with Gray Maynard, who's fucking ginormous. I don't even know what it's called right now. Like I'm just
Power bomb, bro.
I'm just power bomb, man. Yeah. I'm just saying I love Cub Swanson. I think he should have already had the title shot after. I think he should have been after Chad, but they're making this fight, and I think it's just gonna ruin it. And he's.
Well, I mean, you got to think too, though. Aldo, I mean, maybe the UFC knew something we didn't, man. Maybe they knew that Chad was going to go in there and give him a tough fight. And I mean, not that we, people didn't know that, but
he was going to be competitive.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at Aldo's track record, he fights what, once a year, twice a year, maybe.
Yeah, it used to be more common, especially in WC, and then as it's gone on, he's fought less and less. You're right.
Exactly, and so I mean, maybe they didn't want Cub sitting there for what, a year and a half before he fought for the title.
I get that.
He had the option, actually. They asked him. He didn't have to take the fight. He actually said in his interview on UFC on Fox Sports, he was like, "Oh, they said I could wait. I could have waited, but I didn't want to. I wanted to take this fight. I want to show why I'm the best in the world." So I mean, he had the opportunity, but I think that he's going to waste it. I think he's going to get finished by Frankie Edgar.
Yeah, I think it might be the posturing from Conor McGregor is if he were to wait, he'd get passed up.
Yeah, that very well could be. Cody, are you there?
He might get passed up either way.
Yeah, he will get passed up either way.
Yeah,
I feel like it doesn't matter
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, what's up?
Who you got in this fight? We haven't got his take yet.
Yeah, Cody, give us your take on the main event. You there, Cody?
Cody's drinking again.
Cody,
put the bottle down.
Cody.
All right, maybe not.
Okay. Where were we then? We're
just talking about Conor McGregor posturing.
Well, yeah, I think that like UFC might just throw. Either way, this is like a fight. Like it's not useless or pointless, but I can see the UFC just okey doking him and just screwing him and screwing whoever. Because if Edgar wins, I think he should be next. Whoever wins this should be next.
I agree.
Whether he has a smaller win streak or not, if he beats Cub Swanson on this ginormous one, he proves he's next in line. Because Mendez, while I believe he is the clear number 2 guy, he's got at least 2 or 3 fights away. So he's pulled out. Lamas is still a fight away. I think Lamas Mendez is the next fight to make. I don't know about you guys.
I agree.
That's like those 2 guys are pulled out. Bermudez just got finished. He's out by Lamas. So really what it leaves is these 2.
Yeah, I mean what it is they've got a backup plan, man. The UFC's got a backup plan. So if Swanson goes out and wins, he is your clear-cut number 1 contender. If Frankie Edgar wins and Conor McGregor beats Seaver, they're giving McGregor the shot. You know they are. But
I'll probably do that. I can see it either way though. I can see them screwing both of them.
So I don't know, man. I think I still want to see McGregor fight a wrestler before he gets a title shot. I mean, be it Nick Lentz or Ricardo Lamas or Chad Mendez. Any of them.
Nick Lentz is up there, but he's not in this echelon with the Mendez. He's not up there with the Lamas. Well, actually, he's kind of like touching Lamas's toes.
I think Lentz beats McGregor personally. But...
No. I'm not. I think he definitely beats him. I'm saying that up there with the guys that are really should be there. He's like just touching them. He's just up there. He's where Bermudez is now. I think with Bermudez's loss, he's like neck and neck with them. I think they're like tied. I think those versus each other would be a good fight.
See, and we kind of got screwed out of seeing Lentz because Oliveira missed weight so badly and was sick or whatever.
I know, that really fucked up everything because Oliveira coming off that submission of Hio.
Oh, hey, Cody wrote something.
Yeah, Cody wrote some text. Do you want to read that out, somebody?
Yeah. Oh, wait, he just fucking said a second
gone.
thing and now we lost it. Type it all again, bro.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Say it for us.
All right. I said I think Cub has a better chance against Aldo because he matches up a lot better with him because he's just a pure striker and not as good of a wrestler as Edgar is. Edgar is a bad matchup for him. I think Cub obviously. I think he deserved it over Chad Mendez, and the last fight against Jeremy Stephens was pretty close, as you said, Casey. But I thought his wrestling looked improved because Jeremy Stephens is himself a wrestler. I thought he looked improved as compared to previous fights that he's had. Although I don't think it'll be enough to avoid getting taken.
I agree. Jeremy Stephens is not your picture perfect wrestler, though. I wouldn't use him as a litmus test for good takedown defense per se, because I think he stopped in high school or a little before.
I can see Cub winning a close decision, maybe. I think Edgar's going to win, but I will be very, very sad if that happens because Cub is my favorite fighter in the UFC. Him and Conor McGregor are my favorite fighters because of their fighting style and Cub's creativity and his striking and his setups, his combinations. They're just absolutely beautiful to watch. Beautiful Destruction is a perfect name for his style, his fighting style. Now, like I said, I don't think he could knock out, get the TKO over Edgar because Edgar's been shown to get rocked fairly easily sometimes. But at the end of the day, I think Edgar's wrestling and capability to mix things up will be too much for Cub, and Cub will either be submitted by a choke or lose a decision.
Gotcha. Okay, quick thing a fact. I mean, I know you said Jeremy Stevens is a wrestler. I mean, but he's not a Mendez. He's not a Lentz. He wrestled in high school, but he never went.
Right.
That. He's never faced a true
Right.
elite wrestler. I mean, not never. He hasn't fought one on this streak, and the last one who's had any decent college experience knocked him out or submitted him. In Ricardo Lamas. And before that, Mendez just destroyed the fuck out of him in a very one-sided. I mean, it was a wrestle fucking. Come close to finishing him. But every time he's faced an elite wrestler, he has lost dominantly. You even go back to Jens Pulver before that. If you go to every single one, he's lost. And maybe before that, there's some I don't know. I don't recognize some of these guys before 2007. Okay, that's a little far. But you go to those three over the last 6-7 years. I'm just saying, and on the streak, Jeremy Stevens is as close as he's gotten, and he did pretty good. That's all I'm gonna say. I think that, and we're seeing, it's Mendez and Edgar. Those are like the best wrestlers there. Those are like them.
I think a lot of people are quick to forget how awesome Edgar is too, and I don't think anyone here, speaking tonight is, but I think the general public or your casual MMA fan, they forget how awesome Frankie Edgar is, man. I mean, this dude held the 155 belt. He walked around at 157. He didn't cut weight, and he was beating dudes like Gray Maynard and BJ Penn. He beat BJ Penn 2.5 times because you're like 2.25 times because that last BJ was tiptoes.
He beat BJ Penn. He at least drew BJ Penn in his prime, and then beat.
Right. So I mean, Edgar's.
The third one wasn't prime BJ. Before that, that was still prime BJ.
Yeah,
I actually thought the first fight I thought that BJ won the first fight. My personal opinion.
Yeah, it's one of those fights.
A lot of people do.
A lot of people do think it was razor fucking thin, and he did that to a prime BJ, and he was undersized.
Yeah.
Undersized then, and he's undersized now. Got to give it to him for that. Yeah.
Yep.
I just want to say that fact. He's never beaten an elite wrestler that I can find.
Yep. It'll be a good fight, man. I think
this
that's
is gonna be big. If he beats him, it'll say a lot. And this is what Conor's not gonna fucking row a death row of fighters that Cubs had to go against.
No.
And
You're right.
Also he's not gonna get a wrestler either. That's what's pissing me off. Not gonna get a wrestler because my God, even the Poirier fight, not a wrestler but a good grappler, took it on late, like 3 weeks notice. Very competitive, even though it was a clear-cut win. Very competitive fight. Very competitive. Very back and forth. I think that I think we're pretty unanimous here that Cubs gonna win. I mean, gonna lose.
See you, Cody.
Bye, Cody. Are we all
Bye,
three
Cody.
Or no?
Oh, Cody was
Bye, Felicia.
Cody wants Cub to win, but I think he said Edgar was gonna be way too much for him.
Yeah, he did. No, that's exactly what he said, and he said he was just lagging.
You're right.
He was
gonna be too much.
He was lagging way too hard, and he
Yeah.
lagged out.
One more thing I want to add into this is so I made I want to add this new part into a section. I bet like $3 on these crazy win fights, and if I win $2,330.
Give us the bets. I want to hear.
All right, let's hear it. All right, starting from the bottom, we got Juan, Phoenix, Manuel, Pioy at plus 300. We got Josh Cuddly Bear Copeland at plus 165. We got Luke Big Slow Barnett at negative 325. We got Bobby King Green at plus 105. We got the Boa Constrictor at plus 185. We got Isaac Valley Flag at plus 165. We got Joseph Benavidez at negative 400. And we got the Areola King, Akbar El Carraro, at plus 190. So if these fighters win, I legitimately win $2,000, and that's awesome.
I wish you much luck. I honestly think Matt Wyman is going to be the biggest spoiler in that. I can even see Ho
Who?
Choi.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you. What did you say?
I think Matt Wyman's the only one. I think he's the one you should be really worried about spoiling it. Everyone else, I can see upsets. Matt Wyman, I just don't see it upsetting. But good luck. I wish you all the luck. If you win that, holy fucking shit, good job.
I know, right?
Yeah, man.
That's some crazy parlays.
Good luck for sure.
Okay, y'all know the Ireland card? The
Yeah.
one with injured all of them McGregor. I got every fight right, but one. I would have won $3,000.
Damn. Hey, let's. I think we ran way past what we want to run.
Sorry,
I think
I
we're gonna.
know.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I think we are. I think there was a couple other people who were talking about wanting to start up a betting cast.
Yeah, we can.
So,
Yeah.
I'm doing the right.
That'd be
I finished it already. I just I get all the weigh and stuff. Now,
Yeah, John Douglas, who was in on the last one.
when he's
He talked about how he's really into that too. So he'd be a good one to get in on that. But I think we should wrap this one up because I think we ran a lot longer than we meant to.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. Thank you for calling me out. I'm so bad about that, man. So
No, it's all good.
Please always let me know if I start ranting on something because I'm just so passionate. It makes me sound retardedly crazy.
It makes you sound retarded.
It's all
It
good.
makes me seem like I live in a world of MMA.
Wrap it up, B.
Okay.
Goodbye.
It's the MMA latest podcast. Wait, it's number 4, UFC Austin. Thank you for hanging out, guys. Oh, Brandon's gone. Bye.